Welcome back, VA user. In today's session, we are going to see how to set up the finance module into the VA system. It is one of the very important video in which I'm going to explain how you can set up after installing the financial management module from the market into the VA system. So you just need to look this video completely. You need to understand what are all the settings are required. So I'm going to start up with what are all the components that are pretty crucial in terms of setting up the financial management. So the first and the foremost important thing is to install the financial management from the market. Once the module is installed, thereafter there are various windows would come, the various tabs would come into the VA system at the various windows. So we need to understand all these, and thereafter we would be able to set up our own rules, whatever the way we need it. Okay. So I'm going to explain it out. What are all the components that are much needed into the VA system? So that is the chart of account, the account default, then the account default entities, the posting document types, the account localization, the accounting schema, and there are some master windows where the ledger codes used to be binded. Okay, so these are all the most important components that are needed somewhere, and those to be set up somewhere into the VA system properly. Otherwise our finance posting would not work the way we are expecting. Okay, so let's move on to the chart of account to understand what's basically the chart of account. So I've already explained this into some other videos. Now the chart of account is a listing of the names of the ledgers or the accounts that a company has identified and made available for recording the transactions in its general ledger. So about the more details onto the chart of accounts, I would request you to refer our video called COA Import 1 and the COA Import 2. So you would be able to gather all the necessary information about the chart of account, and you would be able to know how you would be import the chart of account. So that's basically the chart of account. The next is basically the account default. Now what's basically the account defaults? Now in each of the system there are certain account defaults that are pre-existing and fixed. So similarly into the VA system there are certain account defaults needed, and based on these account default the system used to post the transaction into the system. But here the benefit is that you would be able to define your own default account, and based on these default accounts you would be able to define your own rules. So every system has its own default code needed for automatic posting. Similarly Vienna requires some default codes. In Vienna there are no fixed default codes. That is very important. As I have mentioned, there is no fixed default codes. It is based on the requirement from the customer consultants, or the customer can generate as many as default codes based on to the requirement for the automatic posting. And this feature gives the edge over the other ERPs, since into the other ERPs these ledger codes are predefined and these are fixed in nature, and based on certain fixed logic they used to post the accounting. Okay, but into the VA you need not, all these things are not fixed somewhere. You just need to create your own default codes. You would be able to create your own rules, and based on that you would be able to link to the respective transactional window, and thereafter the system will derive the results the way you are expecting. And that is why the Vienna Advantage always having an edge over other standard ERP systems. Now how the user can define the account defaults? As I mentioned, one of the way out is to do it manually. You would be able to do it manually based on your requirement. Onto the other side, Vienna also allows to create all these account defaults automatically. There is Excel import utility. By using that you would be able to download it. Otherwise you can import the standard accounting package from the market, and system will generate all the default posting logics as well along with the accounting default, and thereafter you, if you want, you would be able to modify. Now the certain example of default codes are basically the customer receivable, the payables, vendor payables, the product asset or the inventory account, the trade revenues, the expenses. So these are basically the accounting defaults. So here is one of the print shot where you would be able to see that the petty cash in transfer, the bank account is known as checking account in VA system. So all these are the default codes that you would be able to define into the accounting default window. The next is basically the accounting entities. Now there are certain entities are available, and that there are two most important entities are the master type entity and the forced entity. So these entities, both the entities are used to create the conditions into the VA system. Since you're creating and generating your defaults, thereafter you are generating your rules. Now there are cases when you just need to distinguish that under which circumstances which ledger code or the account default to be posted by the system. So those conditions would be defined at the level of the accounts entities, and you would be able to define as many as account entities. The master entities are the entities which contains the accounting tab into the VA system, whereas the force entity can be any of the window that can be utilized to create a condition for the posting. So here again you have the freedom to define your own entities and the conditions. So here is one of the glance for the account entities for your reference. We'll do it all this stuff into the VA system, and you would be able to understand that how easier and how quickly you would be able to define all these entities. And thereafter there is a posting document type. So now one of the important component of the posting document type in the Vienna Advantage that allows user to generate the account localization as per their region into the VA system. As I have mentioned that the postings are not fixed in nature, the accounting defaults are not fixed in nature. It means across the world in any of the region you would be able to define this. And here as well, posting document types are not fixed. Still you would be, if there are certain document types are already generated, posting document types, you would be able to generate for the more posting types, you would be able to generate the rules onto the top of it. So these are basically the posting document type. So the Vienna Advantage has the posting document types to define the accounting rules for the account localization based on document. So here's a glance for the posting doc type. So we'll see how we can set up the posting doc types as well into the VA system. The next is basically the document type. The document type is a key that is used to classify accounting document and distinguish between business transaction to be posted. The document type is entered into the document header and applies to the whole document. So Vienna Advantage has the document type to define the document sequence and the accounting rules for the account localization. If you want to go ahead with further more details about the accounting document type, you can refer our video called document type and the document sequence setup. There you would be able to see lot many details regarding the document types. So I would recommend you to refer our video called document type and the document sequence setup. The next is basically account localization. Now the account localization is place where you used to set the rules based on your country or based on your region and as per your customer requirements. So that is the place where you would be able to define. It means whatever the master so far we have discussed, everything is getting clubbed at this particular place. Okay, so all those components would be utilized at the level of the account localization, and later the posting doc type would be linked with the document type, and from the document type the system calls basically the account localization rules. The benefit for the account localization is it is freedom to create country specific account localization, freedom to create localization settings based on windows and document type. You have the freedom to define conditions as per the customer requirement, and you would be able to make the changes into the account localization as and when needed. Okay, so that is basically the account localization. So you would be able to see the account localization contains various tabs. So in the PPT I have just showcased that you would be able to define your rules in such a way where it shows that you have the account default, that is the account payable trade, and it is related to the vendor master entity, and thereafter it should be posted as debit. So the posting is defining is basically for the AP credit memo, that is basically the debit note, and the posting side is debit. Thereafter which amount entity to be posted and what is going to be the posting type and in which way you want to do the consolidation. So that is how you would be able to define the posting logic. Thereafter Again, the posting logic should be posted based on a certain conditions. So you would be able to define your conditions in such a way where that condition says that the selected business partner onto the transaction of the AP credit memo or the debit note is going to be a customer. The invoice is not going to be a sales invoice, but it is going to be a return invoice. So as I have mentioned that it is a return invoice in my previous videos as well, the sales invoice false is equal to sales and return invoice false is equal to AP invoice. If the sales invoice is false and the return invoice is true, refers to debit note. Okay, so that is how you just need to define the conditions, and thereafter your rules would be, posting logic would be done, and that can be utilized to post your record transaction document. The next is the accounting schema. So accounting schema is the window where all the accounting set of rules to be defined to run the automatic accounting into the VA system. So what I must say is it is the accounting schema from where everything would be set it up, and this is the place where the system calls first thing and thereafter validates your account localization and do everything. Okay, so the postings happens and it will start from the document type to the accounting schema. So I will showcase you one of the flow chart, in that you would be able to imagine that how strongly the system verifies out the things one by one and then post the things into the system. So it is one of the accounting schema. The benefit of the accounting schema is basically you can create a number of accounting schema with different base currency or with the same currency as well. Then you have the multiple organization to a single accounting schema can be assigned to drive the postings. User defined localization can be linked. Then user can link default code by using the following way, that is the automatic. Using the COA form to link the ledger codes, we'll see that how we can do that. And the manually is the manual one where you just need to select one by one and just define your ledger codes. For the further details about the accounting schema, you can refer our video accounting schema setup. That will really help you. So I will request you to refer this video and you will be able to understand what's basically the accounting schema. And that's all in this. Into the next session, what we are going to showcase you how you would be able to define all these things into the VA system. So into the next video, we'll showcase you all this stuff. So then, till then, thanks a lot. And I would request to, if you like our content, share this with your colleagues as well and subscribe our channel. Thanks a lot in this video. And into the next video, stay tuned with us so that we would be able to define the rules and we will utilize those rules to post the transaction. Till then, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.